This is Unit 5, Day 8, talking about graphing the absolute value of a variable. So this is y equals the absolute value of x minus 5, and we know that it's absolute value because of the two bars that we have around the variable. So right here, okay, these two bars show us that we're graphing the absolute value. So when you're using your graphing calculator, the first thing you're going to want to do is to go to y equals, and then you're going to press the math button. You're going to go right using your four directional keypad. You're going to go right 1 to the number screen, and the first highlighted option says ABS, and that is what you'll be using. So you'll go ahead and press enter. That means absolute value. And once you have that on your y equals screen, or it will just be the bar that you see that I have the arrow pointing to. Once you have your absolute value, then you have to find x. It's that key that has x and a couple different other symbols on it. It's near the math button. Okay, you're going to press that so you get your variable of x. Then it's very important that if there aren't two bars on your screen for absolute value, if you have ABS and 1 parentheses, you have to close the parentheses after you've entered your variable of x. That's very important because otherwise you will get a different looking graph than the one we are going to do right now. And then you're going to do minus 5. So minus, just like you would for any subtraction problem, minus 5. You can then press the graph button and you're going to see what the graph will look like in general terms. Then you'll press the second button and the graph button again, and this will give you your table. Okay, now it's very important that when we're filling in the table here, that you have both negative and positive values for x. It's important because this will make sure that we get the point, okay, that's going to be at the bottom of our v, and we're also going to get points on either side of that line of the y-axis, okay? So copy down your table. The graphing calculator has done most of the work for us. Generally, I use the following numbers when I'm doing this: -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3, because this gives a really good picture of the graph. Again, on both sides of the y-axis. So I'm just copying down my table as I see it on the calculator screen. With 0, we have -5, -4, -3, -2. And you'll notice a pattern. You should notice some type of pattern. Of course, under the x label, we have 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And on the y side, you'll notice too, we have -2, -3, -4, -5. And then we start receding: -4, -3, -2. Okay? There should be a pattern on each side. It might be kind of difficult to see, but once you graph it, you should be good. When you graph it, you just want to follow the points as you normally would. So, my x is -3, and my y is -2. So it'll be somewhere around here. Okay? Once we get to 0, we should be at -5. Again, your graph will be better than mine, I'm sure. We have all of the points that were on our table. This doesn't mean that these are the only points on the graph. We've known that, though. We've done graphs many times. And now you'd use your straight edge. You'd get a graph that looks kind of like this. Don't forget to label it. Y equals the absolute value of x minus 5. Now when you're writing out the absolute value, make sure that your absolute value bars do not look like ones, okay? In order to achieve this, you can make them extend further, as you see up here in the typed version. Make sure they go nice and tall, alright, so that they're not mistaken for ones when you're checking your work or when we're looking at your work. And there you have it. That's how to graph the absolute value. Again, the calculator does most of the work, and you're simply copying and making sure that you're doing your graph appropriately.